All right. Welcome to Health Second Opinion. Dr. Chad here with you. Loving it being back here at the house. It has been an amazing week. And it's only Thursday, I know, but the fact is many of you may know, some of you may not, that last Friday we had a baby girl. And it was an amazing event. And so I'm going to be talking here about healthy birth, but and talking about things based on, of course, what I've gone through lately. But the fact is that, I want you to think about what you're thinking about giving birth to in your life, figuratively, or, maybe you are having a child, and how you want that to go. And I want us to discuss things based off, and I'll tell our story, but yet at the same time, one of the biggest things is that I want people to understand that, hey, it's all about what you want. And when we think about things and where we want to be with our lives, so many times we think that we can't give birth to the things that we want, and we have these limitations and all of these things. And so I want you to understand that, one of the reasons that this is so amazing is that, we had a birth at home, and we gave birth to a little girl, which is a miracle in and of itself, seeing as how I have three boys, three wonderful boys. And so during this time period, we didn't find out what the baby was, and we didn't. So we were, dragging out our surprise, because we thought, well, in the background, odds are maybe that we will have a little boy. And so this will be our 9-month window of where we could pretend. But we named her Eliana. And Eliana in Hebrew means that God has answered my prayers. And we chose that because, hey, if we got a little girl, we knew it would be a prayer answered. And so very thankful to actually get to hand that name off to her. Her name is Mary Eliana. And there's just so many things. This story starts out with, two 45-year-old parents having, my wife turns 45 July 5th. So she's pretty much 45. And so many people would think of us as being like the Methuselahs of birth or something, or the, like this is, Sarah giving birth in the Bible and in her 90s. Well, the fact is that, we understood that we've lived our lives a certain way and that our bodies were completely capable. And so we, started this process, and it's been amazing. And so I want you to think about, the fact that, like my wife, when we were partway through, she knew she wasn't feeling quite as well, wasn't right, as well as what things were with the other pregnancies. So you always got to measure things. And so one of the first things we checked out was blood sugar. And turned out that a lady who typically, when either your lifestyle's not been well, and when they become pregnant, they can have gestational diabetes, and or age can play a factor into that. And that's what played a role here. And so it was really amazing that because we wanted things to go a certain way, my wife, she tested that, yeah, she had gestational diabetes. And so at that point, we knew what we had to do. And she took the reins, and we really worked on her nutrition, because we said, the doctors immediately said, hey, we could give you some metformin, and it'll make you nauseous, and it'll really probably affect you kind of roughly throughout your pregnancy, but we totally manage it this way, and then you can kind of keep doing what you're doing. And she's, no, we're gonna look at this from, well, obviously at my age, she's 44, she said, look, I can't have pizza Sunday. And looks like Mexican is without any tortilla or chips, and blah, blah, blah. Because when we measured her blood sugar, everything was great 90% of the time. But anytime she skewed just a little bit, just few chips, one was cantaloupe, man, blew her off the charts, and so all of a sudden her blood sugar would be like 160, and just it's 95 before and 160 after, so it's just amazing that there were little things, that were surprises to us that, is we found that she said, no, I'm going to use the advanced plan. And so we're going to go absolutely basically healthy keto. It would be what a lot of people would think of this, but her being a vegetarian, you know, she just really rocked into this healthy keto based, but it's all vegetable based advanced plan that's in your book. If you have the Align Your Health or the old nutrition plans book, you have the way to do healthy keto and to reverse diabetes. And that's exactly what my wife did during pregnancy. You know, she maintained a healthy blood sugar and was able to rock out this pregnancy at age 44. And I mean, I'm talking about, we were the week prior to birth, we were out the weekend prior, we were out downtown riding bicycles throughout downtown on the Riverwalk. And you know, so it's all about our mindsets. And so many of us have been captivated with this, you know, poison that we've been listening to lately, and that things are so bleak in the outlook of where things are going in the future that we stopped thinking about what do we want to give birth to. And, you know, for my wife, it was, we wanted a healthy, happy, beautiful little girl. And so we didn't find out what the baby was. We focused on what we wanted. And so we stayed focused there. We dealt with the nutritional things. And like, so anyone out there who's dealing with diabetes and you don't think you can give birth to the new you, the person who's not diabetic, or the person who doesn't have heart disease, or the person who you don't think you can reverse cancer and you don't know how to do that. Well, you can do it. But it takes a mindset that says, you know what, hey, we're gonna do it. And when we think about these things, you know, so now we decided that, okay, we're going to get exercise, but we're going to do it after a meal. And so anytime we would eat, you know, she would go do some form of exercise. Why? Because 80% of blood sugar is consumed by skeletal muscle. So if you utilize your skeletal muscle after a meal while your blood sugar is climbing, then you're going to lower that blood sugar that ends up in your actual bloodstream. And so, and that's a beautiful thing, you know. So again, it's using our common sense, you know, and I think Mark Twain nowadays is really coming true even more so, that common sense isn't too common, but we got to get back to making common sense. And so we utilize this beautiful information that we have that, you know, God made our bodies are meant to heal, they're meant to function, and that it's about how we treat them and what we give them that determines their outcomes. And so one of the biggest things, you know, so many people have lost their compass. We're lost in this crisis, and we've lost the idea that it might be more difficult right now, but what you want is what you want. That dream that's in your heart, that love, that amazing thing that you think you're capable of and that you know is in your soul that you want to do, whether it's for your health or for your life or for your finances or for your children or for whatever that is, whatever that thing is in your life that you're wanting, that you believe in, that you're capable of it. And during this time where things are kind of a little crazier, maybe it'll take a little more focus. Maybe it'll take a little bit more repetitions, a little more planning, but it's definitely still possible. And, you know, I want to really, we went through this process of having a home birth. You know, so many of you, well, not to mention, hey, it was a 44-year-old giving birth, but it was done at home without intervention. Another thing that so many people think, oh, is it possible? So I'm using these as examples as to, you know what is it that you want? And what are you wanting to give birth in your life? Again, because this common sense not being too common is really that we're not focusing on what we can do and what we can control. And so we knew that we wanted to have this baby at home, but then all of a sudden, you know, as we got into it, man, it started to get a little difficult and labor stalled. And that was the first time of any of Megan's pregnancies that it stalled. And so we were, you know, good couple hours into it. And then, you know, of course, it's something that, you know, thank you, Journey Midwifery and Michelle Ray. And gosh, I cannot believe I can't remember her assistant's name, but God bless y'all. Thank you. You rock. Y'all were absolutely amazing, militant when you needed to be. And it was so beautiful to watch. and the fact that you managed the situation. They showed up. We knew that there would be a possible bleed risk for Megan in this one because there was before, and so they had everything set up to, you know, prevent that. And then, but the D-cells started and the baby started tanking during birth. And all of a sudden it was go time. And they you know, said, hey, Megan, why don't you get up, move around, get a little bit more action going and go to the bathroom. And then, you know, but what they really meant was get out of our way. We want to talk about you. And they asked me, you know, hey, do you have the doctor's number? And can we call and let them know we're on our way to the hospital? And, you know, that was earth shattering. And, you know, Megan being herself, she overheard it and she said, not on my watch. And so she came out and they said, okay, you got one more shot. Heart rates were dropping, should be around 140, and they were down more around 50. And things were getting really intense. And so she said, no, we're going to do this here. And she really focused and strained and had some inner dialogue going on. Water broke. 5 minutes later, baby was out. And but baby had been through some stress, and so we really had to focus and deal with, again, what did we want? What could we focus on? And it was about getting that baby breathing and stopping bleeding and all of these other things. And so I got to learn how to use an oxygen tank, and I got to learn how to administer that to the baby, and while they were managing Megan and the baby. And it was an amazing journey, and it was just very successful. But it was not without bumps, and it was not without bruising, and it was not without stress and strain. And it was a very painful, hardcore experience to which I had to control my own emotions, my own breathing, and of course she was doing her job and they were doing theirs. And I just can't explain how powerful it is to be at this stage of our lives, having lived a certain way, and my wife being a avid hiker and vegetarian for 25 years. And well, actually, I guess it's more like 30 years now, 30. Sometimes forget how to count how old I am. I think I'm younger than I am. And so what I want to, again, focus on for this, and this whole point of healthy birth is possible. And it's possible at age 45 at home with a very good midwife, and knowing that you're a healthy person. No one should have a birth in a situation where they feel uncomfortable. So if that person feels comfortable with going to the hospital and they think that's going to be the best thing for them, then that's where they need to be. But when you know you're a healthy person and you know you're active and you know you've got good everything, you've been living the 5 essentials, you've been managing your mindset, you've been managing your nutrition, you've been managing your exercise, you've been managing your toxicity, and you know that chiropractically your nervous system and your spine and health is all in alignment, then for us, it made sense to have birth at home. And so we hired the best midwife in the area, Michelle Ray, again, love you, thank you, to Journey Midwifery. And so it was an amazing process. And I can't tell you that it's, you know, I want you to understand that it's possible. But I want us to then go to what's possible and what are you thinking about? You know, for me, it's what's the next step? Well, it's about, you know, creating this next goal of getting to stay home and spend some time with my family, but yet still get to serve the practice. And it was really challenging yesterday. Had a person come in and I, you know, so many people, they show up and let me ask you a question. If you were constantly trickling in poison into your body, let's say that I took a IV and I was titrating, just dripping poison into your bloodstream, moment after moment, day after day. If that poison was dripping into your bloodstream, do you think that that would affect your health negatively? And the answer is, of course, duh, yeah, it would affect my health negatively. But if I'm constantly trickling in negative emotions and negative news and negative, you know, thoughts, and I'm constantly thinking that the outcome's never going to be good, that's negative. That's poison mentally. And so that's one of the reasons that I think that so many people today should be surrounded with a doctor's office that is focused on trickling in and titrating in life and health and hope. And I think that that's one of the things that's missing right now more than any ever. Right now, so many people are constantly inundated with the negative things that are going on, and so much of it more right now. I mean, the world's lost its mind with rioting and with all of the things that people are having to go through. The stress and the strain has not been any more than probably Vietnam, and then any more than, or civil rights and all of these things, these big movements. There's not been much more stress and strain than there has been right now. And so I want you to think about the fact that one of the best things that Max Living offices do around the country is that we surround people with the health, the hope, the life, that in a system that produces results. And it produces day in and day out, all around the world, all around the country, results of reversing disease, helping people get their lives back, not through just chiropractic. You know what? It's the surrounded by chiropractic. It's linked by chiropractic in the fact that no part of the body can function without the nervous system's control and function. Nothing works as well as when it has all of the life force flowing from the brain out to the body, such that it can stir and control and coordinate all of that body function in its ultimate potential. And I think that so many people, we've limited our potential. We've limited our thoughts, and we've been titrating in this, trickling in this poison lately. And so many people have been caught up in the negative emotion of things that we've stopped trickling in the life and the hope and the prosperity and the things that, so I really hope that you can focus on the fact that the little bitty things that you do right now, the things that are another walk at night, another throwing the ball with the kids, another whatever, anything that's positive is going to help you manage stress. And I was listening to Joel Osteen the other day, and of course he was saying how that they had done all these studies, all this research on how people who laughed more and had a positive attitude lived longer. They lived more prosperous. They had better health, and how that literally it improved and I couldn't believe it. I was like, this guy, here he is trying to motivate people spiritually, and he's saying that, you know what? It improves your endorphins and your enkephalins, the feel-good chemicals in your body, and the interleukins and the cytokines that are helping the NK cells, the natural killer cells in your body that are constantly roving the body looking to fight cancer. So laughter, love, and hope fights cancer. And so that literally it enhances your body's natural ability to produce more of these positive interleukins, these factors that affect our natural killer cells and our T cells and all these things that help us fight disease and dysfunction. And how the laughter and love and hope and gratitude, they unwind our DNA. And this has been shown that, and this is why the laws or the topic of epigenetics is so hot right now, and it's so amazing, is that we're understanding more about how when we are constantly focusing on the outcomes that we do want, instead of trying to avoid the outcomes that we don't want, that we're feeding our minds with this positive vibrations, positive energy. We have a better spirit about us. We have more laughter, and this actually winds up the parts of the DNA that are expressing things like inflammation genes and these negative genes that are there. They're needed for certain periods of time, but they're long-term. They're not good to help build us up and sustain us for the long haul. And then it opens up the parts of the DNA that allows access and expression of the genes that literally produce more of things like human growth hormone and lengthen our telomeres, which are the end caps of our DNA. And so that, one of the things I think that so many of us have forgotten is that, we are the actual, average of the 5 people that we hang out with the most. So I want you to pause on that for a second and think, who are you hanging out with? I just noticed I got a Christmas mug. It's funny. Um, you know, who are you hanging out with? And so when we think about these things, and what do you want to give birth to? What's the new you? What's the new part of you? What's the new business? What's the new invention? What's the new, healthier, happier you? What's the habit that you want to give birth to? And then what's the mindset behind what are you doing? And then how are you unifying it? And why is this so important? It's because, if the doctor that you surround yourself with and that you go to for advice and to help manage your health is focused on what's wrong with you, and that's all you're looking at, instead of expressing more of what's right with you and in removing the interference to the expression of your health, whether that interference is coming from subluxation, the number one thing that most people miss is they look at chiropractic as wait till the check engine light comes on and not preventative and wellness or maintenance. And so they miss the boat on that. And so they go through their lives constantly degrading their spinal column, which degrades their nervous system, which degrades their entire body. And so one of the biggest things we want to change is that the doctor that is inside of you knows more about you than any doctor, including me or including any other doctor. And literally, it's my job to help keep you away from other doctors that would focus more on what's wrong with you instead of focusing on what's right with you. If we help you feed yourself better, then your body will have the better building blocks. If we can remove interference to the nervous system and remove subluxation from your life, then common sense says that life force will flow better through you. Common sense says that the organs at the end of those nerves will function better. And therefore, common sense says your body will be healthier. If you eat better, even if it's just one meal a day, if you focused on eating healthier one meal a day, then 33% of your nutrition is going to be better. I'll take 33% improvement any day of the week. Eat better 2 meals a day, you're 66%. Eat better 3 meals a day, you're 99%, if that's the way you eat. I think that more people ought to be doing intermittent fasting these days, and that we ought to be focusing on the skipping breakfast, getting that 8-hour window of eating at least 3 days a week, if not 5. And so that you're going into ketosis, you're allowing your body to regenerate the digestive tract. And that's giving yourself better nutrition and better building blocks, again, to give birth to whatever it is that you want. Because everybody knows about me that once I've eaten in a daytime, that if I don't stay level from then on, then even my mood, my mindset will be up and down. As long as I'm fasting and things, then I can continue on, and it doesn't affect my mood and my abilities at all. As a matter of fact, I feel like I get more clear the further I go into ketosis, and I think that's a common thing for so many people. But yet, you've already been fasting for 12 hours. So what are you going to do? Just keep fasting, don't eat breakfast, and start eating at lunchtime, 1 or 2 o'clock. And then there you go. Now quit eating at 8 o'clock, and you've had an 18-hour window of fasting, and voila, your body is losing weight and your body's metabolism is doing better. And then also you're saving money. Right now is a great time to save money on food, and so that cuts down on cost. And then, make sure that you're not toxifying yourself with, make sure you're, again, always focusing. Minimum standard is dirty dozen, clean 15, and trying to eat organic meat and dairy. And that's the minimum standard. And then trying to focus on your 5 fruits, 5 vegetables in a day. But when you're on the keto and you're really trying to do this, then, hey, stay on the low glycemic index stuff. And then utilize your exercise and your oxygenation, just like I got done doing a very stressful thing a little while ago with on the computer. And so afterwards, I went on a bike ride to de-stress and burn off that cortisol and those hormones. And I think that, we can utilize our things, our extra exercise that way. And again, it's about giving birth to what you want, giving your body these little bitty things in our mindset and in the amount of focus that we have, because all of us are going to have challenges. I mean, right now, getting used to having another child in the house. My wife's not really able to do much right now. And so I'm fixing the meals and I'm doing all the laundry and I'm, focused on taking care of the kids and I'm putting 3 out of the 4 to bed. And what I'm saying? Like I'm that part of the load has had to fall onto me. So stress is high. And instead of doing less exercise and eating less healthy and things like that, we're trying to tighten up the ship. And so as a matter of fact, I decided that, we're going to, by the middle of next month, I plan on being, 10 pounds lighter. It's like, why not? Why not make this part of my stress relief is I'm going to focus on getting more exercise when I can. And I'm going to focus on finding those small windows. And it's all about removing a limitation to my body. That's just my example. And I want you to focus on, number one, not dripping in, and it's, again, I could say it all day long and it doesn't make any sense to you. And you would absolutely think I was crazy if I asked you to take a little bit, just a tiny little bit of cyanide every single day, poison. And I asked you to do that, you would say that I was absolutely nuts. And of course, what are you thinking, man? It's going to kill me. Of course I'm not going to do that. Well, then, what if I asked you to take a lot of it every day? Would you be more prone to it? Well, then why are we watching a lot of negative news nowadays? Why are we watching more of these and thinking more about all the negative things that are going on? Let's focus on the things that we can do and focus on the promise that we have. And the truth is that our bodies will always function better the better that we treat them. And part of that is right here. We got to get rid of our stinking thinking. And so to do that, we've got to have ourselves surrounded with, and that's one of the things I think I love about my office the most, is every day when I walk in the doors, my job is to focus on helping people reach their potential, help them express more of the life that's within them and help them reach their God-given health potential. And if that's not your doctor, and I want you to ask yourself, if that's not your friend's doctor, if that's not your church's doctor, if that's not your business's doctor, if their doctor is not focused on helping them reach their potential, focusing on what's inside of them instead of what's limiting them, then they need a new doctor. And so that's why we want so many people in our offices, is that more people deserve the miracle. More people deserve to be the next miracle. And we understand, we see them every week in our office. Had a lady just yesterday who was, I thought, man, she might be on the surgery table tomorrow. And yet I talked to her 3 hours later and she's like 75% better. One adjustment. Why? Because we removed what was causing the problem. If that's nutrition, we can remove it. We can help fix that. If that's a subluxation, we can help fix that. If that's toxicity, we can help you fix that. If that's a mindset, we can help you fix that. But we can't help people fix it unless they're a part of the office and unless they're watching this show. So please be a gift, be a loving person to the people around you. Share this show, share the Facebook page, tune in. But most importantly, this thing that's streaming across the bottom of the screen is the opportunity for people to have an opportunity to be the next miracle and to have the health and the healing that they deserve and to have a doctor that is focused on their potential. And so that's what we do at Chiropractic Care in Trenton, Georgia, and at Max Living offices all around the country. So I love you. I hope that you are blessed by this and that you can help bless someone else with this and with this type of health and this kind of health care, because everybody deserves to have the life of their dreams. And so I hope you give birth to the wonderful promise that is inside of you, and you're focused on your potential and what you can do in the 5 essentials to meet it. We'll see you back here next week.